sounds, and I've talked about Megadupe TV in the past. I made a video about him when my quality was mediocre, but I'm going to do something a bit different with Megadupe. I'm going to be responding to a specific video that he created recently called The Worst SpongeBob Episode Review Ever Made. It's a rebuttal to a review of a SpongeBob episode created by a reviewer known as Cosmodor. Cosmodor created a video reviewing the episode of SpongeBob Ink Lemonade, and Megadupe TV obviously did not care for that review, so he created a 25-minute video on the subject. And for the sake of time, I'm going to be skipping the first 7 minutes or so. It's more just him recapping a argument of sorts he had on Twitter with Cosmodor during the announcement of the video's creation. But there was one thing I'd like to say about this segment. Megadupe creates this little narrative for himself to make himself, just like put himself on a pedestal basically, about how Cosmodor is scared of criticism and he's scared of Megadupe making a video on him.
He responded to it, meaning he cared enough to, find my tweet and actually respond to it. You really don't want me to make a video on your review. It's you projecting a fear of my commentary, and I feed off of your fear. So you need to try to refute these fictional arguments in order to try to make yourself look better. That's the funniest thing about this entire situation to me.
He's trying to play up this narrative of, oh, this guy knows who I am, and he saw that I'm going to be making a video on him. And since he's obviously scared and insecure of all the criticisms of him, he's obviously scared of me because I'm such a threatening person, he's going to just throw a bunch of random criticisms at him and see how he likes it, because he's obviously scared, or else he won't respond at all. But in reality, someone just sent him a link to the tweet, and he just threw all the rebuttals to all the obvious complaints that he's going to be getting on a daily basis since he's a reviewing channel. Because he's heard all the criticisms he's rebuttaling a million times already, since he is a SpongeBob reviewing channel of sorts. So he isn't being scared of you due to all these criticisms. He is just rebuttaling all the obvious ones that he was assuming you were going to make, because it's all the obvious ones that he's already heard a million times. But that's really all I'm going to comment on, this little segment that I skipped. Now we're going to get into the actual reviewing part of this video. If you haven't watched the original video, link in the description to Megadupe's video, so you have context of what I'm talking about. Anyways, without further ado, let's dive in, right in. Yes.
Yesterday I have made a video on already fan favorite episode My Leg, based on the running gag of the same name. In my opinion, this was one of season 11's best episodes. It had some really clever gags, not by any stretch overdone visuals, likable characteristics of our main cast and the supporting characters, and didn't rely on any form of cheap humor like gross out scenes and the such. Sounds good, doesn't it? Now take the complete opposite of everything I have just said, multiply its awfulness by about 10 times and get your foreheads in position, cause this is going to be one cringe-worthy ride.
And this guy doesn't give any other explanation as to why My Leg is a better version of this episode. No examples, no nothing.
Yeah, because the long list of things that he said made My Leg good didn't count as an example of why they were good and why this one is bad. You can't just go around saying they didn't give any examples for why this episode is better than this episode if you use a clip of him saying reasons for why this is a good episode and this one isn't.
Keep in mind, I haven't watched My Leg, so how the fuck am I supposed to know if what he's saying is correct or just bullshit?
Well, there's a very simple solution to that, isn't there? Why don't you just watch the episode? Because if the entire criticism just stems off of, oh, I'm not sure if this is actually like a truthful thing, or if it's just like hyperbole or subjective opinions or whatever, then why don't you just watch the episode? Or better yet, watch his review on the episode. Since My Leg is a fan favorite episode, there has to be a re-upload somewhere on the internet that you could watch. And if you want examples on why My Leg is a good episode, watch his review on My Leg. It's not that strange of a concept. This is a very easily solvable situation that you've gotten yourself into.
And I swear to God, they have dumped him down endlessly in this episode. Even in other ones of the same season where they went the route of overemphasizing his stupidity levels, he didn't look like a big pink monkey man as he does here.
Oh yes, because how dare they have character designs that display his stupidity. Seriously, that's your complaint? That he looks like a big monkey man even though he is a stupid character? Fucking hell, man.
That wasn't the complaint, though. The complaint wasn't that the character was making stupid faces. The complaint was that they were dumbing down the character without giving him any semblance of subtlety or personality and just stripping him down to the one characteristic that we all know him as. We've seen other episodes with him with actual personality other than he's stupid, and so just dumbing him down for this episode was a bad idea, since he obviously isn't just a stereotypical dumb character. He wasn't complaining that the animators made him do stupid faces, he was complaining about what the stupid faces were emphasizing.
Spongebob, who is suddenly just kinda there, scares Squidward with a megaphone. A gag they have already used 3 times now, I should add, making Squidward pour ink into Patrick's lemonade. Yes, this is gross, especially considering it's coming out of Squidward's nose.
Seriously? Is this what cartoon reviewers are bitching about now? Ink that doesn't even look that disgusting? Granted, it came out of Squidward's nose, but at the end of the day, it's just fucking ink. For fuck's sake, Sponge Out of Water had a scene where Squidward wets himself, and the liquid is also ink. Is that scene a problem now?
Well, not really. Those scenes don't really correlate besides the obvious comparison of ink. In the movie, they don't, emphasize the fact that this is a gross-out joke or a gross-out scene. They just use it as a one-off gag that only takes, 3 seconds, and then they're off doing normal things. In the episode Ink Lemonade, they go out of the way to emphasize the fact that what the characters are doing with the ink is disgusting, and it is the entire basis of the plot. It isn't just one-off gag that is never mentioned again.
Look, I don't know if this is some sort of new fetish one of the writers had while working on this episode, and I get that they didn't really utilize Squidward being an octopus and therefore being able to produce ink before, but is that the best you could come up with then?
I love when cartoon reviewers nowadays constantly try to use the fetish card to try to make an episode look worse than it actually is, because squid ink is definitely a fetish.
I can agree with you on that statement, but it was obviously a joke. That it wasn't a complaint on the episode, it was just a joke.
And if that was supposed to be a joke, then sorry, I'm not buying it due to your terrible delivery.
Yes, it was a joke. It was definitely a joke. A poorly executed joke, but an obvious joke nonetheless. It isn't a complaint on the episode, it's just a joke to emphasize a certain complaint. He seems to do that a lot, and that seems to confuse you a little bit.
Scare Squidward into making more ink with him ripping off his whole skin in front. Feels just like old season 6 times, doesn't it?
I never understood why these cartoon reviewing retards constantly spurg out over gross out in a cartoon.
The line at his lemonade stand got
Okay,
even
care to
bigger
elaborate
since,
or
and so
explain?
he gets a gigantic spider.
At all, you're just gonna cut away? You seem to be getting up on him for not giving examples and reasoning, so you should probably do the same.
I feel like this one wouldn't have even been that bad had it aired in the aforementioned dark era. It would have still been bad, don't get me wrong, but at least it wouldn't have stuck out as much as it does now.
You're telling me that if this episode was released in the quote-unquote dark era of SpongeBob, then it wouldn't matter that much? See, this is what I meant earlier by I highly doubt that's, how you truly feel about this episode. Right? Because you literally just said that if this episode was released in season 7, it wouldn't even be that fucking bad.
Well, I mean, that was kind of what he was saying. It was kind of more of just a stripped-down version of what he was saying, because that wasn't what he was saying. He was saying that if it was released in the quote-unquote dark ages, that it wouldn't have stood out as much as bad, and so the community wouldn't have gone as hard on it as it did, because if it was released among episodes that were also deemed as the worst of the series, then it wouldn't have stood out as much, and so it wouldn't have been hated as much as it did. But it was released during a season of fan favorites, so it stood out more as a bad episode, and so the community hated on it more. It's a simple explanation, really.
To quote my buddy Sandals Fish here, it's like this episode exists to cater to children.
A kid's cartoon catering to children. What a fucking surprise! You know, it's statements like this that really shows everybody why the cartoon reviewing community on YouTube is a fucking joke. A fucking joke. They say degenerate shit like this, and then they expect me to take them seriously. Fucking hilarious.
You know what? Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, a large majority of cartoons nowadays aren't marketed at all with the fact that both children and adults are going to be watching it. No, it makes complete sense, yeah, because every show nowadays is just Peppa Pigging around with bright colors and an extra pair of shiny keys to wave in your child's face. Obvious sarcasm aside, this is a stupid point. Cartoons pandering to children is a really bad thing, because cartoons should have the foreknowledge of not just kids will be watching this. Some of the worst kid shows have been released without that knowledge, and so they are deemed the worst kid shows. The best kid shows don't deem kids as kids, and they know that kids and adults will be watching this show, and so they make it a good show. This is just a stupid point. If a company doesn't know that adults will be watching this as well, and they think that they're just supposed to pander to children, then they don't put as much effort into their show, and they make bad shows. This is obvious knowledge that everyone should know. Also, I love how this is just the point that he ends on. No conclusion, just nothing. It's just another reminder that, oh, the cartoon community doesn't know what it's talking about, and uses like 5 more derogatory statements that are really just used to offend for whatever reason. Now, I've been complaining for a long time now, but I don't hate Megadude. I don't hate this video either. I've skipped a large majority of this video because I do find the points that he was saying pretty solid in those segments, but the points that he got wrong are just so bad. They're just stupid. There isn't any logic to them. There isn't like any good reasoning. Every once in a while there isn't even any reasoning at all. Just another example of him insulting someone for no reason. But again, I don't hate this video, and I'm not going to be on this ranting war against Megadude or anything. I like his content, but this video just isn't as good as he hyped it up to be. But anyways, I'll see you all in the next video. Hopefully. I don't upload that often anymore. But anyways, see you all in the next video. Goodbye.